Okay, I think this is right side up. This will have to be a charm of my videos, being just completely unprofessional and just not really giving a shit. I honestly don't even know why I'm bothering with the title. I guess for the hell of it, just to, I guess, have some sort of structure, I guess. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is the part 2, which I'm making pretty much just a couple hours after the last one I made. And I think I just wanted to go a little bit further regarding my own experiences in rejecting authority. I kind of glanced over the fact that I rejected authority, but I didn't really expound what happened as much as I would like to in this video. Particularly when it comes to the spiritual writings like the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, as I was saying before, with that 10-year period where I just didn't have a whole lot of progress, I'd like to expound more on the years where I did progress after the 10-year period. And I did talk a lot about my reductionist phase. And I very slightly glanced over my occultist phase. And it's all a very brief summary. I mean, nothing I'm going to be able to tell you is going to really capture the fullness of what the hell happened to me. So I just beg your indulgence for my own limitations in expressing this. I absolutely refuse for this to not be spontaneous. I don't want to make some sort of a stupid outline and go through talking points and all that bullshit, because I really think there's something great about just being spontaneous with my flow. Just saying whatever comes. And I think it's fun to kind of review it was fun reviewing my last video just to see maybe how I would shape a little bit more of what I say in this video. But what I really want to look at, that I think my last video just sort of glanced over, is what really happened to me after my reductionist phase. Having already have rejected spiritual authority for well over a decade, almost a decade and a half. For one thing, when it comes to meditation, and that's probably going to be the subject that comes up the most in this video, is spiritual authority in relationship with my progress in meditation. Now, I guess you could say I became sort of a self-styled Bhakti yogi. And I really want to emphasize the self-styled Bhakti yogi, because it's very important to distinguish myself from traditional Bhakti yogis, because I am in no way, shape, or form a traditional Bhakti yogi. But when it comes to the spirit of a true Bhakti, I am definitely one of them. Boy, am I one of them. It's not even funny. And the spirit of Bhakti is love and devotion. Now, the Bhakti Yoga I practiced was just very direct worship of the deities of Hinduism, but with absolutely no clinging to any Hindu tradition in doing so. Now, I don't want to say that Hindu tradition is obsolete, because I think that's extremely myopic to say. But I will say that your traditional Bhakti and the sort of Bhakti I became are far different, and I would probably say being a self-styled Bhakti is like, I don't know, way better. And that's just my own opinion. There's no, we are talking about no authority here, so that includes myself, very much so. But the sort of Bhakti Yoga I came through was just love and devotion to deities. And I had been a Bhakti of Narayana, also known as the god Vishnu, from the age of 22. In that decade that I didn't make much progress, I worshipped Narayana. Of course, I didn't have the proper accent when I worshipped him. I guess that could be another benefit of not having a spiritual master, or another drawback rather, is for years and years I pronounced Narayana, Narayana like Mariana, or something like that. And it's just funny, I worshipped Narayana for many, many years, with a very common white man mispronunciation of his name. And I'm sure Narayana must have gotten a kick out of that. That must have been pretty funny to him. That would be like, but it's like my Filipino girlfriend, for so long she called me Doswa, not Joshua, and I never corrected her because it was so cute. Doswa. But yeah. But when I went through my skeptical phase, I cut off all worship of Narayana, or Narayana, as I knew him. And then when my skeptical phase ended, I really went back to Narayana. And I even pronounced it correctly after that. God only knows if I'm pronouncing it correctly now. I bet there are probably some Indian folk that might laugh at how I'm pronouncing it now. It might still be mispronounced. But I'm doing my best. What can I say? So, but no matter how intense my worship of Narayana got, both before and after my skeptical phase, it was always mine, my relationship with him. I would not allow any authority to come between me and my relationship with him. And my understanding of him came from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and specifically the myth of Ajamila. And I would invite you to read the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Volume 1, and catch that myth of Ajamila, because that'll give you an idea of what I was working with. It's a very important myth to me. It completely brought me to an understanding that my relationship with God was between me and him and no one else. And that in the uttering of that name, Narayana, even though I was pronouncing it wrong, was the power to have that connectivity with divinity. So I'm not going to go through the story. I would invite you to read it yourself. It's a cool story. It's a very badass myth. But that's what lighted my devotion for Narayana. And even in my skeptical phase, whenever I was frightened or scared over whatever reason, I would always say his name, Narayana, or Narayana. I would always say his name. His name never really left me, even when I was an atheist. But after my atheist phase, then the intensity of my Bhakti Yoga really, and I mean really, kicked up to high gear. Every day I was chanting bhajans. I would go on YouTube and just find every bhajan I could find for any god, particularly the Trimurti and the Tridevi. So my worship of Narayana expanded into a worship of Shiva, into a worship of Brahma, and into the worship of all the Devis. And like I said, I did not follow any Hindu traditions. I was very adamant, as I always had been, to not allow any spiritual authority to get between me and the gods. And boy, I'll tell you what, that shit was powerful. Excuse me. It's actually a bit overwhelming to think about. And everything after that happened very fast. Very fast. So fast that I can barely even recount all the miracles that I saw. And everything that opened up to me was amazing. I mean, I'm reluctant to even recount it on a video because it was so immense that to describe it would just be a laughing disgrace. When you seek God, or Debbie's, or whatever symbols of divinity you want, when you seek them without authority and without a filter, going right to the source, my goodness, that's all I really want to say about it. So, yeah, it got really, really intense and so excruciatingly beautiful. That I beg you to come to divinity without authority, without anyone telling you or showing you anything, especially me, anyone. I'm telling you what you'll find. It's so glorious that I don't have video to tell you. I don't have words to tell you. I don't have anything to say except do it yourself. When I first started uttering the mantra, Om Vedatmakaya Vedamahi Chantarimukaya Rimahi Tharno Brahma Prachodayat, directly to Brahma himself, with no authority, Brahma came through. And I'm not going to tell you what happened, because that will cheapen it. But I can tell you that he came through. When I chanted Om Namah Shivaya, shit. Shiva and Brahma. You know, I had always worshipped Narayana for a long time. And I love Narayana. But man, what I found with Shiva and Brahma, it's everything. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Hari Bole, Namah Shivaya. I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen if you say that. I'm not going to tell you, but I will tell you that it will be beyond your wildest imagination, and it will be beyond anything you could possibly encapsulate. The translation of Om Vedatmakaya Vedamahi Chantarimukaya Rimahi is, O God, who is the soul of the Vedas. You are everything. All the world is inside you. intellect. And may the God Brahma illuminate my mind. Let's start out real quick. Just my coworker, he's doing his cleaning chores. Yeah. When you seek the Devis or gods or God, whatever, the names aren't really that important. But when you seek them with no authority and no filter, just seek them in the very mantra, things will happen. And I'm not going to tell you what those things are, because I'm not going to give you some story. I don't want you to have a story. I want you to have a true experience. So I invite you to that experience with no authority, with no expectation on what it's going to be. And I think you'll discover something magnificent. This is another reason why I'm down on authority. My great God Shiva does not need anyone to tell you who he is. Least of all me. I can tell you, he will tell you himself. Because you are him. There's no difference. So, if you're going to be on the path of love and devotion, I heartily recommend doing it without authority. And that's all I really wanted to get to in this video. Bhakti Yoga, love and devotion, with no authority, with no priesthood, with no spiritual group, just you and God. Love and devotion between you and the universe and existence itself, with no filters. Give it a try. Peace out.